Good evening, chops and chopesses on this glorious day. I'm surprised there's any over here. I thought you'd have been in the garden on the old barbecue. So anyway, well, welcome and thanks for joining on this evening. I wouldn't have thought it, but never mind, here you are. Kazakhstan. Ooh, what a creepy place that looks. I mean, the more I've looked into it, the worse it gets. You'd expect it. It's perfect. Perfect for these fruitcakes running this new world order, I'll tell you. So Masonic, but it's all the religions. There's a mosque, there's an obelisk, there's a grail, a pyramid, you name it, it's in there. Creepy. And it's still empty. You know, it's a strange, a bit like them old cities in China that have been built with nobody in them and are now crumbling away. There's some strange stuff, but that place over there, petrodollars funding it by the billion, honestly. So we'll have a quick look at some of that stuff. I'm not going to go crazy on it because even I'm bored, to be honest, on a day like this. Who the freaking hell wants to be doing a live stream? You know, maybe we'll chill it out a bit for summer and maybe do one a month, do something like that. I'm running out of stuff of interest, to be quite honest. It's getting to the point where it's going self-preservation, ladies and gentlemen. And spending a week putting together live streams isn't self-preservation, is it? So maybe I'll have to reconsider the weekly live streams for the special of the summer anyway. But this Kazakhstan, interesting but creepy. And it just gets creepier and creepier the more you look into it. But the Masonic side of it, the Luciferic side of it is just absolutely... You'd expect a place like that for these sick people that are pulling in this new world order. That's a fact. But Chatham House. Now, I've only just put this together, in the last 45 minutes. A rush job, so I haven't even read it myself. But it's basically giving insight into Chatham House, but the history of it we've covered. Milner Group, Round Table, the guys that made up the War Cabinet, the guys that handed over this New World Order to the pretend Jews. Just as a front, of course, for them to administer and so that everybody thinks, you know, it's the Jews running it. Yeah, they're administrating it, but they're not the controllers of it, not by any shot. Timelines, we've looked at the timelines, have we not? We think we've found the one behind and older than the Hebrew. Or it's not really the Hebrew. I mean, we have to get out of this idea that, you know, this system that they're setting up has got anything to do with the Israelites. You know, it's got nothing to do with the Israelites whatsoever. We have to remember, and this is what it is about remembrance and awakening. People think, oh, look, we're getting to see what's going on out there and who's doing what. That's not the awakening. That's just people moving out of their emotional body and starting to connect with the mind and apply some critical thinking to those out there that you've just took for granted on your side. That's not the Great Awakening. That's just the first process in going, hang on a minute, things are not right. The Great Awakening, and I'm specifically speaking about the European races, is to start to recognise who we actually are. Because what we're not, in any way, shape or form, anything to do with the Old Testament, anything to do with the Judahites, because the Old Testament was written in Babylon. We've gone through this. Marcion was the first guy to put together the canon based on the man Jesus, who came to destroy the Second Temple, as he called it, the laws of man. The laws of man created in Babylon by the captives, but operating and creating a new system, pulling together what you all call the Old Testament and have it as something important. No, it was a system created in Babylon by the Babylonians, and through King Cyrus, a Zoroastrian, a guy who'd been invited into Babylon and all Persia to take over the running of all those nations, invited in by the aristocracy because of the corruption that was going on. They invited in King Cyrus to take over the control of all these nations that the aristocracy had laid up as this uber sovereign, as Obama claims you have to do. So this is a rerun of King Cyrus, this great sovereign that everybody wants to put in place. He built the Second Temple. He built the Second Temple based entirely on Babylonian garbage. The Judahites, they created or reformed the Old Testament, which had nothing to do with them. This is another thing we've explored. The Israelites and the Judahites were in opposition. They despised each other because the Judahites were trying to instill this one God, Yahweh, stroke, Lucifer, on everybody around them. They are the Edomites. They are Amalek. It's not Rome. It's not the European races. It's all upside down. And you believe that you are under you're under the spell for sure. But you believe that the whole Israelite tradition is as they present it. Nothing could be further from the truth. The Spartans were clear. We came from Egypt. The entire Greek civilization came out of Egypt. Israelites, what they call pagans, the Olympians, the gods, the Olympian gods, that's the Israelite tradition. The one God, garbage Yahweh, belongs to the Judahites and Babylon, Zoroastrianism. And King Cyrus was the emancipator of those captive to go and build the Second Temple that Jesus came to destroy, and was successful in doing so for 1,000 years. And then after that, they got back in. Got everybody to believe the garbage, and everybody's been sucking up to these people like they're something special. This is why we're in such a mess. So the Great Awakening isn't just working out and applying critical thought to these people that you've held in high regard. That's just you using your mind. Critical thinking. Not running around on the emotional garbage that they depend on in order that they can control you. You've got to move out the emotional self. Otherwise, you're not applying critical thought or anything else. You're swooning on the baby boomer fantasy. Because let's face it, the baby boomers are the secret societies. The baby boomers are the ones responsible for handing over all our nations to this screwball sect. A screwball sect that think they're the masters of the universe, but they're only the administrators of that system. We've looked into the families behind it. We know where their origin is. They call themselves the Holy See, but the Venetians, the black nobility, and they herald from Persia. This is what's got to happen now. People have to awaken to what is going on. The bloodlines are running the system. They're moving it over to Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Mongol territory, Genghis Khan territory. Yeah, we've spoke about that. There's more going on over there. Russia are buffering us from getting there. NATO have created all these bases, we believe, to buffer Russia. No, it's a second front buffer to stop the West encroaching on the new game they're setting up in the East. The New World Order isn't the West. The New World Order is the East. Everything that's gone on since 9/11, with the First World War, has been about undermining the Aryan Christendom power in and of itself, for itself. That's the game. The empire is, these bloodlines, administered financially by those that call themselves Jews, and the military force is Islam. And that is a fact. You know, I've studied Islam, I've studied its Quran, I've studied its Hadith, I've studied the Sirah. It is a war doctrine. It is Talmudic doctrine. It is deceptive. It uses deception. It's allowed to lie. Why? Because they can't face you front on. They have to do it subversively. And they're doing it. And the white, you know, your suited people, the baby boomer generation, secret society affiliated people, they've been bedazzled by it all because they're stupid. They don't think for themselves. They are 100% operating on emotion, and they'll do what they're told. They've all took oaths to keep their mouth shut. They've cut themselves off from protecting the nation, the kin, the future of their lines, because they're so self-centered they couldn't even think beyond the self. That's happened. The Generation X has picked a lot of it up. The awakening has to be that the European races, which is the West, we are the Israelites. We've always been the Israelites. The Tuatha De Danann, Ireland, Albion, the Druids, they are the priesthood of Israel, what was the Israelites. They initiated the man called Jesus. They sent him to Palestine to preach to the lost. Us. Which is why Christianity is specifically a white race system. That's why it's so. People get hooked up on colour of this and of that. He didn't speak Aramaic. Or why is all the original doctrines based around the New Testament, not the Roman Testament? That's garbage. That's the Jewish side. As Abe Finkelstein made it clear, they were in it from the start. And I've said before, I don't trust anything written. You have to follow the action. You have to use your instinct, your intuition. You have to massage that kingdom within when you're applying yourself to these systems. Greek was the language. Not Aramaic, not Hebrew, Greek. Because the Israelites became the Greek civilization. They were the Spanish civilization until the Spanish Israelites were taken over by the Moors, who then claimed the civilization that they'd invaded as their own. That's being used again now to encourage these Africans that they built all this stuff. I'm afraid you didn't. And if you want to know how these Israelites ended up in Egypt, then you've got to understand and study Atlantis. The sea peoples that were invading Europe, they were the ones that were moving out of Atlantis as it were collapsing. But before Atlantis collapsed, there were 10 kings, 10 priest kings running Atlantis. And many of them left Atlantis way before it went under. This is why rhesus negative still exists. They're the bloodlines that didn't suffer the genetic manipulations as Atlantis got to its end times. That's what's gone on. And Egypt was one of those places, or Kem, that these people, the Atlanteans, went to. It may well have been Negroid originally. It's very possible because it's in Africa. But once the Atlanteans took it over, it wasn't anymore, was it? You know, the Greeks, it's there for you to see. The Spartans. You know, how many of you out there respect the Spartans? They came from Egypt, like all the others. So this is your philosophy. This is your civilization. This is where it comes from. Not these fruit bats that emigrated from southern Egypt into the Canaan and caused all the trouble that they did. Okay? But 4 wars they had, while these southern Egyptians branch, you might call it, whatever they are, were trying to inflict this monotheistic system on everybody else. The Israelites said, no thank you, we're not interested. And as they moved up further into Europe and were being chased by these freaks, they became the Scythian race, massive grouping of these Israelite tribes. Saka, they were also called, where you get Buddhism. Why is Buddhism and Christianity very similar? Because they come from the same tribes. And King Cyrus, trying to invade again and enforce his will over these Israelites, took Queen Tomarin's son hostage, expecting her to buckle under and say, yeah, okay, you can come in. She said no. He killed her son. She said, you'll get your fill of blood. Massacred Cyrus's army, took Cyrus prisoner, and she killed him. A woman. Who is King Cyrus today? It's a rehash. Nothing new under the sun. It's a rehash of those times. You might say for 3,000 years, we, the Israelites, have been fooled by these freaks who despise us, have flooded our nations with subcultures. Cultures that are not honest. Subcultures that are not true. Subcultures that don't understand a high trust society. Because they are a low trust society. That being the case, they see our high trust essence as a weakness. We have to awaken to who we are right now. This is the time to awaken to who you are, because then you'll recognise who you're not, and you will no longer be fooled by this priesthood that's got you all believing that they are the supreme, because they've took the lion. The lion had nothing to do with them. They've stolen everything. The swastika, the shining ones. The shining ones was the sons of Horus. Again, referencing Ursa Major, the swastika. That is why that is our ancient symbol. Everything came and comes through Ursa Major, the pole star. That is our essence of our symbology. The 7 rays of consciousness come through Ursa Major, the pan, the plough, which creates a swastika in its journey around the pole star through the seasons. Hitler, everything they did through Hitler was to besmirch our own symbolism so that we ourselves would despise it. That's how ridiculous this is. So the Great Awakening isn't you guys out there applying a bit of common sense and critical thought to these people you've held in high regard who are playing on your emotion. That's just you raising yourself up slowly above the 666 creature. The 666 version of man trapped below the heart. You're starting to connect with the higher parts of yourself, which is that instantly you're connecting with your mind, critical thought, logic, not being fooled by their lies over their actions. When somebody says this and they do the opposite, that's who they are. There's no in between. That's for your emotions to blag. You cannot blag this reality when you apply the mind, critical thought, logic, and get away from this emotional garbage, this faith as they call it. That's the game. Emotions play on faith. Get rid of it. You cannot have faith anymore that the people all around you that have been brought in from these other cultures have got anything other than the enslavement of your women and the killing of the male. But they won't do that. That has to be done through the bigger boys creating the wars, and then getting us to go and fight them. Can you see the game? Because if you can't see that game as it is, you need to understand something. You are that 666 man, referenced everywhere, and they're building a kingdom for that. They're building a kingdom for that. It's the cube. Now, interestingly, in Kazakhstan, they've got a black sphere. Now, I haven't managed to have a look into that just to see exactly what that is referencing in all honesty, but that seems to be a symbol tied to this Kazakhstan, the New World Order. I would call it the Master City. Because of course we're dealing with cities. We looked at what a city was originally. It was the pooling of the public estates, persons. And it would look like Kazakhstan is the New World Order Master City under which everything else is going to dance. That's east and west. This is why they're getting in the cities. That's why they want the 15-minute cities. This is why the WHO needs this treaty. You know, this is what it's all about, people. And if you can't see it, you need to recognise you're still an infant. You're still a coward. You're afraid to see reality. Regardless of what garbage you are convincing yourself to the contrary. Except know thyself, another Delphic, or the Delphic prima message and caution. Know thyself. Again, where did that come from? The Israelites. You've got to get out of this garbage that the Judahites have fed you about who you are. Because that's not who you are. But unless you believe it. And you can only believe that if you're a coward. You know? And from that cowardice comes everything else. Oh, I can't be asked to do that. Oh, I haven't got time to do this. The core you need to recognise, to know thyself. The foundation of that attitude is cowardice. That's what it is. Can you face that? I don't think so. But you better. You better start. The baby boomers, forget it. They're not going to do it. They're way too gone. Way too involved with the self. But they're of an age now where they're going. We might have a chance once we get rid of that power structure that's fixed us to this lie. Fixed us to this garbage. You know? Because for all the wind and piss and the Queensberry rules, at the foundation of it all, they are cowards. Selfish, beyond belief. Selfish. You know, when the shit comes out, we'll go on holiday. We'll go and have a pint. Never let's what's going on here. They don't care about the future. They don't care about their offspring. They don't care about their grandchildren. We have to accept these realities as they are and see it. Because they are not going to change things. And they have the power. Because they have the wealth. We have to work around that. Because the wealth that they have is being moved to Kazakhstan. Because they can't see it. They cannot see it. We are going to have to start afresh. My generation, millennials, not so sure what's going to happen with Gen Z. Maybe it'd be a good idea for them to go off to war. Because they're pretty useless anyway. You know, they're complete and utter puppets of whatever emotional garbage is being pumped out by either the communist state or the capitalist state. Two heads of the double eagle. You know? You really need to start to get a grip to what's going on here now. Otherwise, everything that we can see that's going on is going to come to pass. It's going to come to pass. There's no point taking baby boomers to task. They're beyond redemption. They're beyond redemption. They're going to have the biggest shock of their life when they pass and they realise and see what they haven't done. In essence, what they have done. On the back of that, what they haven't done. Nothing we can do about that. They're solid. There's nothing there. They're right because the Grand Master said. They're right because the Bishop said. Yeah? They're not their own people. They never have been since being children. They've remained infants all their life and have been fully dependent on outside forces to tell them even what clothes to wear. It lands on us. You. Not somebody else. You. Because if you don't take it on, then you've wasted, you know better than what we can see as being. No better whatsoever, not a bit. You know? And that's the situation we're in. That is the reality of this now. Everything around you that you believe on emotion is garbage. In fact, everything that you're holding off and thinking, oh, it's going to bite you. Because there's deception everywhere. These cultures are deceiving everybody. They're not what you think they are. They're certainly not what we tell you they are. And that's something we're going to have to reckon with sooner than later. Right. Let's have a look who's joined us on this red hot day. I'm surprised anybody's come, to be honest. I thought you'd have all been at it going. Jerry says, hi Sean and all in the Wise Asylum. Good evening to you, Jerry. Mark says, evening Sean, evening Mark. LFX, evening. Oh, it's just Sean with the gigs on. Alright, LFX. Slipknot says, alright Sean and Jackie and everybody. Good evening, Slipknot. Anthony says, good evening Sean and the gang, of course. Meander V. Jode Avond, good evening to you. PY Music says, evening all with the sun shining. Yes, evening Paul. Jerry says, I hear the Iran president passed away. Does it really matter who's the power in all these countries? The bloodlines. So it's just a front, a show. The sidekicks, they're just meaningless tossers for you to believe that in you shifting one bunching on a vote or another bunching on a vote, something's going to change. We're beyond that in the Wise Asylum, surely. So does it matter that the president's dead? Not one bit. But I didn't know that actually, Jerry. Paul says, good evening, Sean. Good evening, Paul. Jew says, evening. Can't believe it's Sunday night again. Good vibes. It comes round too quick. Way too quick. In truth. Good evening to you, Jew. We're on the garden. Ah, well, that's got to be good. Solvamist says, hi, Sean. Hello there, Solvamist. LFX chapped and chapped asses. And Aru, evening Sean and all, good evening to you, and Aru. Profiler X, good evening to you, Profiler. Meander V, people want to awaken though. In my experience, it's impossible to awaken people to the most basic things. Well, you're going to have to do it at some point. You're going to have to do it at some point. Might as well be sooner. Every day that you do it before the time you don't have a choice is a day you're building something of value. But I agree with your sentiment. You know, if the one thing the book script showed me and changed me, and I always had confidence that the English wouldn't go for it. Now I've seen the English, the Scottish, the Welsh for what they are. And I'm afraid those sentiments are what I've seen. Profiler X, Astana anagram for Satan. Well, etymologically it means capital. Now we'll have a look at that as well, some of this stuff. But etymologically, Astana means capital. So we are definitely looking at, in my opinion, the master city for this shit system. So they're going to be running all this China, UN, all this shit from there. And you're all supposed to believe that it's China, UN. No, it's the same bastards that our generations past have held in high regard, worshipped, come out on the streets at the jubilees in the thousands back in the 70s, celebrating their own destruction, out on the street clapping in 2020 because they're fucking stupid. stupid, retarded infants. And they still can't face the fact that they've been screwed. They'd rather blame everybody else for the fact they were stupid, they sucked it up, they sacked themselves off their employment contracts and signed a furlough, they did the deed, and always it's somebody else's fault. What a fucking disaster. And that's global. What a fucking disaster that's been. And still, they don't want to face it. Still, they'll blame everybody else except themselves. They'll blame everybody else for the fact they did it to their own offspring. You must do it, you must do it. Yeah. Can you see? This is how far off the world is from reality. But the problem is the fact that they won't face it. They're so self-fucking-absorbed, so self-aggrandizing. They can't accept and admit it to themselves because they can't follow the Delphic Oracle's command of know thyself. They're terrified of knowing themselves because when they look at themselves, they can see what they are. Infants. Cowards. Cowards. Pass it on to the other generation. These assholes you've got all over online now baying for this war. Because they're past it. Baby boomers, with Generation X. Baying for this war. Not for their fucking self. Because they want to watch it on telly. They want to watch you, your offspring, getting fucked on television. Because they're the cowards. But they're talking up a big fucking war. These bastards in the suits called politicians, called councillors, talking it all up. Are their kids going? No. Yours are. If you don't fucking get a grip, wake up and reckon to the fact you're responsible for your offspring and you've never took that responsibility since the day you had them. Do you not think it's about time you did? Forgive yourself for being a complete wanker all your life. Forgive yourself and move forward. Or you're nothing. You're a coward. And nothing. Go and watch Alex Jones. Listen to the garbage pretending that it's all going to be good. This week, the ego on the man coming out there saying he's sorry for not saving you. Can you not see what's going on there? The fucking ego of that man is fucking outrageous. But it's probably not an egoic thing. He's acting. He's acting. Because he knows you'll suck it up. You know, everybody goes, oh, what's happening? It's happening because you're doing fuck all. You're not even teaching your offspring. John says, good vid. Already, John. Thanks, John. Solomon says, Jason B touched on this a couple of days ago. It's good gravy. You mean Jason Brashears? Look, I've said to you before. Well, maybe I haven't, but I recognise those that are on the same path as me. Those that are pulling in the same frequency. And Jason's one of them. And it's difficult for people to recognise that because they don't like his personality. Well, that's tough shit. I've said before, it's not about the personality. It's about the message. Because while you're focused on the personality, you're not seeing or hearing the message. Are you? So everybody's obsessed with Jesus. He's just a fucking man that gave a message that's been screwed up all over it, sure. But you get an insight into what he was talking about when you watch his action. And he weren't no pussy whipped little penis giving it, oh. He was saying, fuck off, fuck you, you're a lying bastard, kiss my ass. And they missed that. Well, how do you miss that? I don't know how you miss it. Because maybe you generations are not. But look at your mother and father, your grandparents. They missed it, didn't they? They missed it. Unless they got a command. Your country needs you. Off to it. Because they're fucking stupid. Your country needs you to be in your country. Your country needs you to see what's going on. Your country needs you to see that the enemy is here. Not over there in Russia, Ukraine, the Middle East. They are the enemy, but it's not our business. If they can get you focused to that, you're not seeing what's here on terra firma on your own land. Oh, it's gone right up. My God, as you go, you've got a lot to say. That's good. Let's have a look. Big E says, "Come on, Site. Greetings, everyone. Been celebrating the fuddy football. Football, what's going on? I thought that we're all finished. Alright, Big E. I know I bred a circus, but I love my team. Gotta have something in life. Time now to get focused again." Okay, matey. Cos 1973. Howdy, and the hands up, and the beard. Alright. Okay, Cos. Solver says, "I changed my pick to the swastika to reclaim it." Absolutely. The shiny ones, gentlemen, the sons of Horus. That's where it all comes from. It's got nothing to do with Noah, all these spastics, these freaks that they've created on their own game. They're not the shiny ones. They're the shitty ones. You've got to know your history. You've got to know your traditions, folks. But we're getting to a point now where we really have to wait until we are. Because everybody thinks they're something they're not. And while you think you're something you're not, these boys have control. Mew says, "Hello, Sean and gang." Hello, Mew. Anthony says, "Make perfect sense of fire." We've got a Barbers and we've got a Star. Alright. Jerry Sonamic says, "Maybe they're a world within the cube, Black Storm." Leander V, "Life is too short to worry, you can stop it anyway. They would never allow this to happen, the cowards cope." Who would never let this happen? Who wouldn't? It's not about worrying. It's about facing reality and not handing over your offspring to slavery. Is that not something worthy? Is that not something you now need to do? You're not just there need to toss around and play with yourself. That's what baby boomers think. Well, we can see clearly that ideology doesn't work. You're giving up your entire life to everything outside yourself. So, sorry mate, can't be having that. Laugh at you the world, of course, because it is temporary. However, while you're here, it's real. And is it your job to ignore reality at the expense of your offspring? I don't reckon there's any kind of moral structure that's not in the fantasy that would acknowledge that as real. I don't think. But each to their own. Treen says, "Yeah, Sean and folks, hello Treen, glad you've been able to join us. Profile Rex, conformity is the jailer of freedom, absolutely. 43 on, but only 5 press the like button. Come on, get that like button pressure, are you all not happy? Haha. Well then. Jerry says, "Oh ye, that's why I said it, because of the family line that runs things there and showing its controlled seasons." Tree says, "I'm hanging by attack. The last 4 years have been an eye-opener for me, for sure. But I'm pretty much burned out, saving my last for when I really need it. Totally agree with you, Sean. Willful ignorance and off to get the effing nails done." Yeah, but that situation's arisen because of the generations that have been not giving a fuck. I know it's on us all, let's be honest. But there is nothing that annoys me more than reality coming to the fore and the bastards that refuse to acknowledge it because they won't be able to go on holiday. They won't be able to do the garden just as they want to do it because, fuck me, they might have to do something that's real for their offspring. That's what bothers me. We're all programmed. We've all been in the program. Some of us are a bit stronger and some of us have never took the program. And I'm speaking of myself. But it hasn't been an easy gig. So I understand why most people fall for the easy life. You tell me what to do, sir. Yes, sir, no, sir. If that's what I have to do, sir, Whereas I said, fuck off, kiss my ass, because you're talking out your ass. Unless it would, if somebody said something good, I was happy with that. But unfortunately, in my life, the majority of people that I've known, parents, family, everybody, think they're something fucking special. And the more they've sucked into the programme and got pets mean prices, just reinforces the garbage. But when I look at you, you're the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. And I've thought that since I was this big. I just couldn't communicate it as well when I was younger. You know, and that goes for everybody. Sorry, you can have fucking pets mean prices all day. You're just sucking the shit out of the garbage for an easy life. You don't have any of my respect. Not even a fucking pinch. Because I see you as you are. I'll talk with you and I'll laugh with you, but I'm laughing at you. I was laughing at you when I was a kid. Because you're fucking stupid. Yeah? And nothing's changed. People said to me, you never change you. Do you know why? Because as wise as I am now, I was that wise when I was a kid. I just couldn't express it. I couldn't get a point across. I would just, yeah, okay, what the fuck ever. Off you go. You carry on. Yeah, yeah. That's why I never changed. What would I change for? Why would I fucking change? I went a lot gentler when I smoked the weed. That's it. Just hiding it, probably. But anyway. Wise words Slipknot says. Good. Jason's good. He knows what's going on. There's a lot out there that know what's going on, but most people don't see them. Because they're focused on the people that don't know what's going on. Or do, but in making sure you don't find out. And as I've said it before, if you're going to be fooled by personality in people's histories, you're fucked. You're fucked. Because you're never going to see it. If they have to satisfy your, oh, he has a suit. Oh, he has a fucking a BMW Mercedes. Look at his background, it's so perfect. If that's what you're sucking in for, you're fucked already. You've fucked yourself. You know what I'm saying? They are black magicians and everybody falls for it. Because it's easy. Profile Rex, completely agree. Defence is something you do on home soil. Well, fence. D etymologically means no. So no fence. Remember, the old terms military were always fencing. Outshouting. You've got to go back to the etymology for everything. So, defence means no fence. And that's exactly what the Ministry of Defence has been doing since it was formed. Making sure we don't have a fence. Tying us into all these hoity-toity jollies all over the fucking world. Sending our boys over there into Africa where we have absolutely no fucking business whatsoever. You know? Anthony says, shoot the messenger instead of hearing the message. And if the case is to do unto others as one would have done to them, meaning just to correct it and accept that, humble the ego. I mean, again, we discussed that the other week. People don't understand what that means. Do unto others as I've done to yourself means it means you do fuck all. That's the problem with the Christian. That's how the Christian's been completely and utterly demolished as an entity of any worth. If I'm right and wrong, I'd expect somebody to put me right. I wouldn't tell them. I'm not saying I want somebody to come over and start beating the fuck out of me. I'm saying, if I'm wrong, and somebody knows I'm wrong, I expect you to make sure that you show me where I'm fucking wrong. And I will do that to others, because that's what I expect back. Do you understand that concept? And everybody's doing that in their own way, in a sense, but they're doing it so they don't have to face the self. You know, most people in this game, that I've been in this game a long time, most people are doing this not because they give a fuck, they pretend they do, and convince themselves they do. No, they do this so they don't have to deal with the self. So they don't have to deal with their own bullshit. It's easier to do that. Fine, get on with it. As the old saying is, spirit will use the ego. And it will. Off you go, get on with it. But then always as it gets further and further down the line, that's when you can look at all your people that have been involved in it before and they've had some guts about them. But then all of a sudden you can see that they've gone too far. They're having to face themselves again. because the self is fucking it up for the self everywhere. And I've seen so many people that have been in this game for such a long time that are just fucking the self up because they've wasted all that time. They haven't even given the self-analysis even that much. No, fuck me, it's out there. You've always got to be pulling yourself, analysing yourself to make sure you're not wandering off into shill territory without realising it, you know? Liam says, can anyone see this comment? We can see your comment, Liam. Leander V, Sean, I was talking about the boomers. Right, no problem. That's how the general population talks. Untitled, hello Sean, everyone. Hello to you, Untitled. Jace says, good day, good evening. Jace, the lurker. The lurker, rather. Authenticity is the most powerful energy one can project. Hi, guys. Good to see you all, and it's good to see you as well. LFX Def Hence. Tree says, I've always had a hard paper round where I think it's helped me work out what's real. So much questions back then, so much never sat with me. I won't fall for it now. Been lurking, but it's early here. It is indeed, sir. And thank you for making sure you're there in the background. Okay. Big E, only 2 words to focus on here is question everything. Yeah, absolutely. And accept fuck all unless it feels right in you with your heart. If it doesn't feel right, but it's nearly there, then there's still more work to do. I'm innocent and preserve myself, says Untitled. John Locke in 1689 is the one who changed the conversation from self-defence to self-preservation. He was coming more from an individual perspective than his predecessors. Yep. I have a lot of problems with a lot of John Locke's work. He had a lot of good stuff that he put into the Protestant Reformation, but then when you get into the nitty-gritty of him, I weren't impressed with him at all. Not at all. Probably outside of Plato and the amalgamated works that we call Socrates that Plato brought to us, I would say probably the greatest philosopher that I studied, and I studied most of them, was probably Spinoza. Now, it doesn't mean everything he said I accepted and agreed with, but out of all of them I studied, except Plato, it was the least, there was the least shit that you could throw at him, in essence. But anyway, that's going back millions of years ago when I studied all that malarkey. Unfortunately, I gave up the concept others would be as kind back, only take the piss with it. Yeah, because people think kindness is a weakness. That's where we are. That's where we are today. You've got to be exceptionally careful who you offer your trust to. You really have to. You've really got to work people out before you give them absolute trust. Biggie, when you were born, you cried and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. Yeah, good. Good bit of banter there, Mucky Martin Glasgow. It's far easier to con the multitude than it is to convince them that they've been conned. Well, they don't want to face it because they have to face the fact that they're dicks. That's the ego playing. I can't accept that. I'm fucking amazing. I've been amazing all my fucking life. Well, you haven't, have you? You've been a complete tossbag. Acknowledge it, laugh the fuck at yourself, and forgive yourself. That's the game. As far as LFX, it's Damascus, while eyes are being distracted by Sumeria. Yeah. Alright. Right, so, what did I have? I can't even remember what I've done because I haven't really put much. To be honest, I've not really put much effort in this, guys. I've got to be honest with you. I think I've probably outpoured what I wanted to outpour in these live streams and all my websites and everything. I think I've just pretty much now emptied myself, and I'm glad. I'm happy with that. It means things can change. I can move on, and I can fucking look after myself for a fucking change. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's just a natural thing. It's not something it's just happening, guys. You know, it's just happening all by itself. And I'm going with it. I'm not going to fight it this time and go, no, I must fucking do it. Because no, I don't need to fucking do this anymore. I don't need to give a fuck anymore. I don't need all this data for myself. I don't really fucking know. So, You know, it's like one of them. Things are definitely changing. I'm changing, and I'm happy to change. And so we might not be doing as many of these in the future, chaps. Right, what have I got here? So we just, there's some interest. So, we'll run through ritual side, and then we'll come to this shit. So I think it's worth reminding everyone the future Queen of England has been missing for 5 months. Allegedly, all the public appointments have been cancelled for the remainder of the year. What do you think is going on? The future Queen of England is missing. Well, there's definitely something going on, chaps. Is there not? They've tried to cheat it, scheme it, scam it. So, if she'd just died of natural causes, they wouldn't have to go through all that. Questions that have been asked: is the news case death being postponed so as not to draw any suspicion of being linked to the recent strange and untimely death of close friend and confidant Thomas Kingston, who was the Middletons' best matey and then married the Duke of Kent's daughter. So, and apparently he was an absolute gem of a guy. The middle of mystery doesn't gel with this time in life where everyone is walking around with a phone that is a camera and a computer, so no one has seen Kate in a garden, a balcony, in a car, coming out or walking out of hospital, doctor's office. No, nobody's seen her. And where's your parents in this, the chicken shits? You know what I'm saying? If that happened to my kids, I'd make a fucking scream and a shout. I'd be going fucking nuts. And why is Prince George being sidelined? Why has he been replaced by Rose Amber's son? Looks like he's banging the shit out of this little trollop. The one they tried to pretend were Kate. And she, you know, and this is Camilla. Camilla seems to be the Queen Dick here. The Medici Queen. You've got the Medicis on the fucking throne. Yeah, and she's pledged to get you all happy. She's not going to get clothes from real fur. Yeah, but according to some folks out there, she might be happy to go through some of these rituals. So, are we supposed to think she's great? This is a fucking Medici Queen. And she grants first range of royal warrants to firm, including Fortnum & Mason. We looked at this last week. Like I said, I've not really paid much attention to this week. It's like, I've lost the interest, guys. I really have lost all interest in all this shite. So, I don't know what I've done there, but obviously I'm not paying attention. And I think give William, and look at that fucking strange looking head. He looks like, he's got the same head as that Jacob Rothschild, hasn't he? Prince Harry said that if you knew what he knew, you'd understand why he had to leave. We all thought he meant external threats, but what if he meant internal threat? What if Willie is a psychopath or puts on its out on people? And just to remind you who Maxwell worked for, people, that there, the one that did 70 years of blag over 2 generations of absolutely useless eaters. That's who Maxwell were blackmailing for. Now, why would the UK Ministry of Defence want to deploy a radio wave weapon which can blast swarms of drones out of the sky? Well, has it maybe something to do with the fact that people are now covering cameras with bags with drones? What's going on here? And if it can blast, if it's radio waves that can blast drones, it can do other things to you. And these are 50 MPs and peers who have written to the Home Secretary demanding to let the Palestinians in. That's Palestinians that are taught from their big to kill Jews, to hate Jews. This is why Egypt doesn't want them. This is why Saudis don't want them. Because they're fucking fruitcakes. And Russia and China feel increasingly emboldened to strike against Britain. We must address our vulnerabilities, says the Telegraph. Cyber threat, of course. Well, Israel controls the cyber threats because they've got all the back doors. See, they're going to start to destroy the West because they're moving everything to Kazakhstan. People have to start to see that. And people don't want to see that. WEF-funded professor calls for involuntary depopulation to save the planet. The fuck are these people? Who are these people? You know? Involuntary depopulation. Well, so that were voluntary, everything that's just been. And here, the screwball. Old people live too long and this is a risk for the global economy. We must do something urgently. As long as they take your estates, yeah. Christine Lagarde, Director of the International Monetary Fund, translated from the Spanish October the 9th in 2018. So this is all the talk that were going on before they did the book script. Now this is interesting. Coca-Cola's done a deal, 1.1 billion, with Microsoft's AI cloud tech. And all of a sudden, cameras are going up in the car parks of Costa Coffee, which of course is owned by Coca-Cola. So perhaps that's what that is a part of. So this is going to be about gathering, isn't it? And the Georgian president has vetoed foreign influence law. So Georgia wanted to create a foreign influence law to stop the likes of the European Union and Russia and anything foreign to the nation from interfering in the politics. Now, I think this is what all European nations need. Any foreign interference, so that means foreign religions as well. China and Russia's strengthened economic ties are rattling the world. Well, it's not rattling the world because it's part of what the world's agenda is. And, I think the picture's started to show itself now. Now that we can give this Kazakhstan some serious attention. I mean, it's been known for a while, but people haven't focused to it. And John Hopkins' genetic study shows 97.5% of Jew dates living in Israel have absolutely no ancient Hebrew DNA. They're therefore not Semites and have no ancient blood ties to the land of Palestine at all. Whereas 80% of the Palestinians carry ancient Hebrew DNA and are thus real Semites. They are, but they're fucking psychopaths. And there is a picture that pretty much speaks 1,000 words. Does it not? Because that's exactly what they're wanting to get together now. The white males out to fight the wars for these people, leaving our women, our children, to these subcultures. Is that what you want, people? You soldiers out there, you're pretty thick if you're happy playing on this exercise and not recognising that you need to get a fucking grip. Now, you can tell, look at me not set this up at all. So what we did last week, I've actually put it together as a piece on the website. And it just says the black nobility will be slowly relocating London's financial centre to Astana in Kazakhstan. The ship is about to sail in an area looking very central for the Belt and Road Initiative between Rotterdam and Beijing. So between Rotterdam and Beijing, this is, you could say, a central point and the reason why they've chosen this. And it's all tied into the Belt and Road Initiative, which is a China gig. Full of oil and minerals and looking like a possible replacement for the Saudi oil. Kazakhstan and surrounding areas have to be seen as a subject of extreme interest when it comes to the agenda they call the Great Replacement. Yeah? So they're happy to demolish Saudi and all of it because there's enough oil in that place to satisfy the ever-decreasing demand for oil in the West due to the wind and rain agenda. Astana as a dedicated financial district in which the official language is English, suggesting preparation for the global power of the old city of London to relocate to Astana. They also boast an independent judiciary similar to that enjoyed by the three independent globalist cities, the Vatican, City of London and Washington DC. Billions of petrodollars have been spent in the construction of this New World Order central headquarters, which is Masonic in its entirety. The main architect is Nur Sultan Nazarbayev, constructing the city in what is a desolate and remote area of the Asian steppe. Classed as the futuristic occult capital of the New World Order, celebrating the oldest religion of the world, that of sun worship, aka the light of the world, the black sun, Lucifer, who in my opinion is also the same entity they call Yahweh, and reason the Masonic and evangelical arena, while believing themselves to be in opposition, are in fact working together to ensure the construction of this black tree of death through the collection of all the energy released by the minds acting in both camps. The double eagle symbolic of controlling both sides. And there's just a bit of a map, which it can enlarge. If you go onto this, I'll put these links up obviously. You can expand just to get a basic look at the new trade routes that have been set up through this Belt and Road. The city incorporates the sun, a mosque, an obelisk, a pyramid, extensive Masonic symbolism, a huge Grail cup, and everything is protected by the Russian branch of the New World Order. right? So it's all being funded with petrodollars. It's all Chatham House systems building it, controlling it. Yet our so-called enemy, fucking Russia, is the military force putting down any and all protests that may go on in any of those nations in that area. A huge Grail Cup and everything is protected by the Russian branch of the New World Order. What are they amalgamating in Kazakhstan? Could it be the realm for the man under the 666 description that you've got in the biblical tradition that we've already explored in previous videos? The centrepiece is a large pyramid, so named the Pyramid of Peace, incorporating an opera house in the basement with a huge image of the sun, representing Lucifer, adorning the entire ceiling of the opera house. The ground level is dark and cavernous. The midsection boasts a huge round table for global leaders and religious figures to offer confession and actions that they're going to take to pull in the one world religion and system. The apex being full of windows adorned with the dove, bathing those inside in sunlight. The architect of the pyramid is Lord Norman Foster, which he dedicates to the forcing together of the world's religions to permit the harmonious reunification of confessions to the time before the fall of Lucifer. Now, obviously, I've added that part about the fall of Lucifer because that's what I learned back in the mystery school. In the summer of 2022, the president of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, instructed the government to create all the necessary conditions for the relocation of companies that have left Russia. Okay, so yeah, all the Russian companies that have been left. So when they said Putin had kicked out the Rothschilds, and I said to you, yeah, but he hasn't kicked out the Sassoons and the Dangori, yeah? He wasn't kicking them out. They were moving to Kazakhstan, okay? And the president then of Kazakhstan instructed the government to create all the necessary conditions. So when you're looking at Chelsea and the guy that took over Chelsea, supposedly an enemy of Putin, that was just there to bedazzle the men in suits who believed they're better than everybody else. That actually Russia had expelled the Zionists and look, they'd come to the city of London. That was a blag. It all went to Kazakhstan from Russia. Tokayev has also said that 1,400 large foreign companies left the Russian market, emphasising that this presented a good opportunity for Kazakhstan. More than 20 companies have moved their regional offices and relocated their teams of specialists to Kazakhstan in 2022. Among them are large global giants such as InDriver USA, Honeywell USA, Weir Minerals UK, Marubeni Japan, and Koppert the Netherlands, among others. Furthermore, popular Chinese companies TikTok opened its regional office for Central Asia and the Caucasus in Almaty in October 2022 after freezing activities in Moscow and deciding to expand cooperation with Kazakhstan. Obviously, I'm thick and I've written some shit words in there, so again, like I said, I'm not really paying attention anymore. I would suggest we witness the completion of the master city from which all cities across the globe will be subservient, with each subservient city holding absolute control of the public pool of estates, which we discussed in the live stream 2 weeks ago. So, holding absolute control of the public pool of estates, persons enslaved within the boundaries, all coming under the new trust, the Noahide system of law. Now, etymology from Kazakh, Astana means capital, and it comes from the classical Persian. So, Iran, okay? Perhaps for those with eyes to see, we can better understand the Mongol horde, what it was, and who it served, and we've explored that again in previous live streams. And there, of course, is last week's live stream up on the website, so people under 18 can actually watch it. Astana hosted an international conference on September the 7th, marking the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. The conference was organised by Kazakhstan's Centre for Chinese Studies and took place at Nazarbayev University, where Chinese President Xi Jinping initially announced the ambitious Belt and Road Initiative a decade ago. And then, of course, there's a document we discussed last week, and there we have a myriad of links for anybody who's interested in such data. Now, where else? Oh, I need to go here now. Let's have a look. Now this is interesting because this is another sidekick Kazakh. And what was it that was interesting? Let me just see. It's Kazakh uplands, reservoirs, population of 86,000. Let me just think. I'm trying to work out what it. And it's the administrative centre of Ulatu region, Kazakhstan. So this is Kazakh. So it's terrible weather that they're expecting people to move there. It's just quite ridiculous. So it's quite extreme weather up there. The city was created in 1938 in connection with the exploitation of the rich copper deposits. So 1938, folks, this is before the First World War. Sorry, the Second World War. Yeah? And you're telling me that the entire Second World War wasn't just about destroying Germany? You're damn right it were. Other metal ores mined in the process of local manganese and iron. Also in 1973, the city became the administrative centre for the newly formed Desert Kazakhstan Oblast, created in the Karaganda Oblast. In 1997, Kazakhstan, at this point, Kazakhstan Oblast was liquidated and the city became part of Karaganda Oblast once again. 16th of March 2022, it was announced by Kazakh President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev that Kazakhstan would become the administrative centre of the new Ultau region. His decree came into force 8th June 2022, making Kazakhstan the administrative centre of region once again. During the Soviet era, Kazakhstan was the site of a Gulag labour camp, Kengir, mentioned in Alexander Solzhenitsyn's book, The Gulag Archipelago, and Alexander Dolgun's American in the Gulag and the period of forced resettlement of Koreans from the Russian Far East. Yeah, can you see this? So, you know, Stalin created centre for the real Jews, I'd say the, not the Ashkenazis, but the Sephardics. And this is what they've been busy doing since 1938. Yep, are we seeing this? It's unstable, blah, 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 blah. Let's have a look. So it's minerals, all the minerals, everything they need there. It's big cities there. Let's have a look. Poor drinking water and air pollution damage the health of urban residents. It's probably all the mining. Monoxide, nitrogen oxide, yeah. So, concentrations of inorganic dust which contain sulfuric, copper, lead, sulfide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxide, carbon monoxide, coal dust, zinc, lead, copper, aluminium, wood dust, hydrogen sulfide, carbon, sulfur. Is that where they're going to put all the masons and just knock you off by breathing the shit in? Well, then, well deserved. Factory located very close to the town, violates international standard, blah, 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 blah. So, that's just another insight into, this has been going on for a long time, chaps. Hidden by Queen Elizabeth II and all the sycophants. How thick. Now this is what I'd suggest is representing the Grail. This is in Astana. Now again, something's not right with this, so I'm going to have to do what I did last week. This is a mosque in there. Astana, or it looks like a mosque anyway. It's certainly got the crest and the dome, the four. Well, it looks like three pillars actually, unless you can't see the fourth. So they're centralising all the religions in there for the one world religion. That's what they're doing. So that's what this Jesuit Pope's doing. It's what they're all up to. As an obelisk, obligatory of course. one wonders whether they will actually move the obelisks currently in New York, in London, etc., or do they represent the old system? Because they're demolishing the Israelite system now and putting it under Babylon if they can get this third temple going. It's King Cyrus to play that role. Donaldo, the Trump. People have to start to see this stuff, people. This is the gig. And here we have just, you can see the sun there, you know, it's definitely a sun cult. So when Masonry in the 1700s were took over by a sun cult, and many Grand Masters were saying, you know, the Freemasonry has to be dissolved because of this sun cult that took it over. There you go, chaps. This is what they're up to, these Johnny-come-latelys. Now I think that sort of sorts that out. Let's have a look. So there's quite a few. Now I don't know how these are going to look. Actually, I might have to alter them. So let me see where we can see that. Now this is. I'd have to just pull these in a bit. This is London School of Economics. In there, you know, centred at Adelphi House. Yeah, in London. London School of Economics, Fabians. They've been in there for quite a while. Country page for Kazakhstan. 2020 LSE welcomed 40 students from Kazakhstan. 7 at undergraduate level and 7 at graduate level. You can't really see that, can you? You can now. So I'll open that up again. So LSE's in there. Hey. So what else it says under there? Houghton Street, London. That's so LSE. All over Kazakhstan. What else have we got in here? The Illuminati capital of Kazakhstan. This is an interesting report. Obviously, we're not going to go through it all, but and you know, this place is right in the middle of nowhere. The Barren Steppe, as they call it, represents an investment of billions upon billions of petrodollars and features some of the most radical revolutionary design the world has ever seen. Guarded by Putin. Come on, people, you can see that this Russia-West game is only for the dumbasses. For the dumbasses to go and fight this crazy war. So they can do the full replacement with the subcultures that they fully control. Not everybody is queuing up to welcome this city of the future. However, critics and conspiracy theorists the world over have pointed out the rich occult symbology, which seems to deeply be ingrained into the aesthetics of Astana, and many are heralding this as the Illuminati capital of the world. Early this year, I spent the best part of a month in around Astana. I heard nothing about the Illuminati theory then, and the city didn't exactly strike me as capital for the New World Order. However, there is certainly something strange about Astana. While the central and business districts have been laboriously designed by some of the most prestigious architects of the world, this 15-year-old capital is still seriously lacking in residential zones. Even now, many government officials commute by plane. Well, they're expecting to kill everybody. Have you forgot that? Even now, many government officials commute by plane from the old capital of Almaty. The result is the most elaborately futuristic ghost town you could imagine, and feels like walking onto the abandoned set for the 1970s sci-fi film. There's a video there. Obviously, the images on that video are terrible. The rich symbolism, peculiar structural design of Astana to raise certain questions which are best answered superimposing lightning effects over footage of the city's more notable landmarks. Let's have a look. The White Tomb. Kazakh culture has its roots in nomadic traditions, and the majority of permanent settlements didn't begin appearing here until relatively recently. In 1824, a band of Siberian Cossacks travelling across the Central Asian steppe stopped on the banks of the Ishim River, where they built what would later become an important fortress defending central South Russia. They named it Akmolinsk, the word for a holy shrine, translating literally as White Tomb. So you Australians, the Cossack, You know, I've seen a lot of stuff to show that he's just a shill. Well, anything Cossack, Siberia, any of this garbage now, you've got to start referencing it as operating for this shit-ass place. The town grew into the 20th century, blah, 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 deep into the Russian Civil War. Under the Soviet Union, Kazakhstan became a powerhouse of industry. Factories, chemical plants, mining rigs and missile silos were built far and wide across the country, in addition to a number of notorious gulags. Perhaps the cruelest of these camps was situated in Akmalinsk itself and known as Alzhir, the Akmalinsky camp for wives of traitors of the motherland. Kazakhstan staked its independence after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1990. A year later, they struck oil in the southern Caspian region. That's definitely a gate, isn't it? Let's have a look. Seismic activity goes on there as well. Great architect. Return to the suspicious level by video, perhaps the stronger recurring themes of sun worship. While a naive observer maybe justifies in comparing the appearance of the Baytrik Tower to some kind of sun altar, it would nevertheless be a gross misunderstanding of the monument's true meaning. The Baytrik is Astana's most enduring icon, with a design based on the ancient Turkic folk tale. Like many of the tower was conceived by renowned British architect Sir Norman Foster. The golden sphere represents an egg, the pillar of the tree of life. This symbolism comes from the tale of Samruk, the magical bird of happiness, a mythical being common to the Persian, Iranian, Armenian, Byzantine, a range of Turkic traditions. Yeah, everything's in sync with these Persian, Babylonian, King Cyrus, Zoroastrians. Personally, I don't have an issue with sun worship anyway, over the things you might cure, blah, 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 blah. There you've got, however, the comparisons which can be drawn between Astana's city centre and the traditional layout of the Masonic Temple are interesting to say the least. You're damn right it is. It's all bloody Masonic, you can see it in everything. The Ak Order Presidential Palace sits at the east of the city centre at the same position as Grand Master's chair. President Nabayev's palace is flanked on either side by vast golden pillars, which correspond neatly with the twin pillars called Joachim and Boaz. They stand on either side of the Masonic Temple. Many Masonic rituals require initiates to pass between these pillars, and those with a little imagination might suggest that placing golden pillars on either side of Astana's central Nerzol Boulevard allows for occult workings on a grand scale. While the eastern station of the Masonic Temple is occupied by the Grand Master, whose wisdom is often associated with divine light, the western position is the realm of the senior warden. His duties are to preside over the lodge at times of labour, and his position could be said to represent the soul, reflecting divine light, the same way the moon reflects that of the sun. Well, the moon doesn't reflect the sun. You shine a light on a stone sphere, there's no light shining whatsoever. So they're full of shit. We already know this. Pyramid, palace, two pillars, and the sun tower. Is that an alignment or what? You're damn right it is. There's the pyramid. Again, designed by Foster. What's that? Pyramid's apex depth with dove motifs. Yeah, we've said that. The all-seeing eye in this pyramid, President Nerzol never himself seems an unlikely Illuminati poem. Why? Who said that? Obviously some fruitcake. I mean, look at the state of that. Doves, it's just so it's just so obvious, it's quite ridiculous. What's that all about? Oh, they like their horses, don't they? Externalisation of the Hierarchy was the title of the 1957 book by British writer and theosophist Alice A. Bailey. But very simply, the externalisation is the process by which the masses are gently prepared for the future, as those controlling the world from behind the scenes gradually make themselves known through increasingly explicit signs. Yep, so it's your pedophilia, your bestiality, all the incest, that's how they play. Yeah, I mean, it's just very freakish, if you ask me. Very freakish. So that's that. Reject everything. Now the unrest that was actually going on in Kazakhstan that were put down by the Russians on a shoot to kill policy didn't last long. It lasted a week, and it was more to do with the poverty that the rest of Kazakhstan were living under, which of course the elite like that, don't they? They like to be surrounded with poverty because it further boosts their ego that they are actually something special. You know, that's how pathetic these people are. But it were Russian forces that came in to quell the Kazakhstan protests, because they didn't mess about, these Kazakhs. They were at it. You know, they burnt down the Parliament building, the lot. But when you're being shot by Russians who are protecting petrodollars, British architects, yeah, you can start to see there that this idea of Russia and the West being in opposition is just total garbage. What's this? Meeting of the National Commission for Rouhani Zangaru Programme's realisation was held. So this was held in Kazakhstan. The meeting of the committee, can't really see that, can you? The meeting of the Commission will consider the results of implementing Rouhani Zangaru Programme and articles of Yalbati 7 facets of the Great Step, as well as plans for new projects. There's 7. Oh yeah. I wonder who gets excited by that. As noted opening the meeting, State Secretary blah 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 blah. The Kazakh alphabet, based on the Latin alphabet, has been approved. Now, what did Abe Finkelstein tell us about how they translated their knowledge into Latin so nobody else could understand it? That's Abe Finkelstein, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, if you've seen that video, they're doing it again, so that the Kazakhs can't understand the shit of word that's going down. Yeah, so the Kazakh alphabet, based on the Latin alphabet, has been approved. Yeah, so same game going on again. They really don't change it, do they? They're so fixed in the one system that they got given to them. Which is why I say, you know, you're not the supreme intelligence. You've been given this knowledge. You've been given the wealth. You've been given the everything. You don't get it yourself. And it only works while the goyim are thick as pig shit and still cowering in the corner. But that's going to change down the line. What else? Anything else on there with? No. So it was just about basically the Latin side of things, because we've already looked at that, haven't we, with Abe. Kazakhstan corporate retreat from LSE raises governance questions. Along with being Kazakhstan's largest electrical energy supplier, Kazakh-based Eurasian Natural Resources Corporation mines and processes iron islands while they're being buffeted by tumbling share price, blah, 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 blah. And boardroom backstabbing. The mining energy giant delisted from the London Stock Exchange on November the 22nd, 2013. So you can see how it's moving away. This is how they're moving what is London over. I mean, this might just be a stepping stone into China directly, but I'm not so sure. When Kazakhstan's President Nursultan Nazarbayev rang the bell to open trading on the London Stock Exchange in late November 2006, he was symbolically ushering in a new era. Companies flush with cash from Kazakhstan's energy-driven economy were flocking to its list in London, where they were welcomed as rising stars. Okay. Can't be asked to go through that. Yeah. Anyway, more garbage. More garbage. So this guy that's former president, who it looks like he could actually still be running it from the out the back, is linked to 7.8 billion in assets in a UK company. Experts urge British government to unmask offshore owners of UK registered firms after uncovering vast assets linked to Nur Sultan Nazarbayev. There he is, in all his glory. Who was former president for 30 years. And joint investigation by organised crime and corruption reporting project, blah blah blah. Well, it's probably not going to go anywhere, is it, if he's still running it? So he's a very naughty boy. Can't see anything there that's really going to interest us. Pioneer Capital. Who else owns Juice and Technologies? Anybody of interest? UK Companies House website currently lists no persons with significant control for the business. Okay. British government was to deliver its long-standing promise to strengthen Companies House and unveil offshore owners brought to get right. Yeah, right. Companies House has become a joke. Complete joke, as you all know. And Kazakh Image, which again, these are just companies, just showing you that they really are shifting some serious stuff over there. In 1913, the Spassky Joint Stock Company was registered in Kazakhstan. The head was an Englishman, Leslie Urquhart. Well, that's not an English name, is it? So you can see that, you know, the city have been created this from its get-go, but obviously it's the city as in fully named people, not English by default of the fact they're in the city of London. Yeah, it's just bunch of shit, really, isn't it? Dodo brand is joining growing list of companies moving HQs to Kazakhstan, and this January 2024. The head of the Dodo brand's Pizzieras will move from the British Virgin Islands to Astana. CFO of the large chain recently announced the decision on a Telegram channel. There you go. In 2002, Kazakhstan also localised production of Euro motorcycles, Russia, USA. Car sheet covers interior and trunk mats from rival Russia. Breathing circuits for ventilators, Orvent Medical, Turkey, and United Concrete Canvas, UK. Also in 2022, agreements were reached with German companies to begin construction of plants in Kazakhstan for the production of gypsum board with North. Oh, don't really be buying that shit then. And trialled agricultural machinery with Rayman. I see, they're definitely, you know, Weir Minerals, yeah, we've got that, we've already done them. What else have we got here? Chairman of the national company Kazakh Invest, Zandos Temirgali, noted 2003 results include 80 companies, 41 of which have already completed the move to Kazakhstan. So they've done a lot under this COVID, haven't they? Not only have they demolished our economies and blamed Brexit, they got you all on new contracts so they can screw you over, 0 hour contract you. But they've moved shed loads of companies while you were all busy shitting yourself off into Kazakhstan. Astana Motors, Great Wall Bank Cars, you know, yeah. I don't know. Kazakhstan and Malaysian investment roundtable, EU and partner banks upgrade water supply in Kazakhstan. Now there's been a lot of fighting going on over here between Pakistanis and Indians. Basically the Kazakhs have started to kill Pakistanis, and it would appear that Pakistanis are pretending to be Indians but it's not working. So they're fighting amongst themselves over there, but it looks pretty much like the Muslims in that area don't like the Muslims in any other area. So I'm wondering what's going on there, but there's been a lot of killing this week, and it's Pakistanis that they're aiming at. And Kazakh and Chinese experts reflect on the first decade of Belt and Road Initiative, and Astana hosted an international conference. So it's very involved in this Belt and Road Initiative, without a shadow of a doubt. There we go. Silk Road Economic Belt, which focuses on land-based routes connecting China to Europe via Central Asia and the Middle East. And of course the Middle East, you see, back in the day when I was having a spat with this guy, this Tory councillor in London who was trying to make me out to be an anti-Semite, and I put on a speech from the Jewish World Congress from the 1960s, in which the then president of the World Jewish Congress said, quote, "We didn't choose Israel for any religious reasons, we chose it because it's the centre point of trade between Asia, Africa and Europe." And the Daily Telegraph website in London, that was across the world, began to disintegrate before our very eyes. I then collected all the data that this councillor had thrown at me and sent it to every councillor in his ward in London. So, you know, trying to have me down as an anti-Semite back then really didn't fucking work. And his career was ended very quickly. And the entirety of London councillors knew what little old me had done. And that got me some interest from some rather wealthy people down in London for that time. And this again is the Latinisation of the Kazakh alphabet. Implications for education, inclusion and social cohesion. Kazakhstan. So, see, they're doing the same gig, same thing. They do it everywhere. Whereas we're seeing what they did, these guys over there need to start seeing what they're doing. Because we're on the back end of this. They're just starting with this. So, yeah, the game goes on. Nothing new under the sun. And they don't change tack because they're absolutely thick as pig shit. Which is why it's so important that people wake up to what's going on, because they don't change tack. So it's fully available for everybody to wake up to the entire gig that they play. It really is. Now, where are we? So this is what I put together, and I'm not going to go through it all, but I'll put it up on this. Might have to alter that, so this is very interesting. Power and Corruption, the Public-Private Imperial Mafia, and this has been written by a guy called Paul Kudenek this very day. And so I put this together because it come on Substack, and I have had a lot of trouble trying to get to Substack when we try and pull it in on these live streams. So I thought I'd put it together as a... But the link to his original thing is on there as well. So, but I'll just flick through it. So it just gives you an idea of the power of Chatham House. And Chatham House, name commonly given Royal Institute of International Affairs, is an extremely influential think tank based in London. It has enjoyed the patronage of the British monarchy for a century now, with Charles III recently joining the list of royal backers. Director Bronwyn Maddox said on May the 9th, 2024, Chatham House is delighted to accept the patronage of the King, a great help in advancing our work on the security, prosperity and sustainability of the world. So this is another, WEF and these things are subservient to this. Upcoming events include sessions on US priorities in the Indo-Pacific. Why is Chatham House just tied in what US priorities are? Recalibrating our assumptions on cybersecurity and solutions for the world in conflict. Now, if you didn't know law, you wouldn't know just how important that word assumption is. Readers of the Insider US Terrorism Professor Carol Quigley will know that he identified Chatham House as the most important vehicle for the public-private Anglo-American establishment, which of course is the holy see families. Yeah, it's never been British Empire or English and Scottish. It's always been a front for the Venetians, the black nobility. It's got nothing to do with us. You know, the Muslims are more connected to the empire than we are. Because the empire has brought them here. The empire has allowed them to steal our money on the social system. They are the empire. Are they ready to accept that? Well, I very much doubt it. So he says, for the public-private Anglo-American establishment that he saw dominated the corridors of power on both sides of the Atlantic. It was formally established in 1920, gaining its royal charter in 1926, and a sister organisation, the Council on Foreign Relations, was set up in the USA. There's Milner. And Milner, of course, making up the Round Table, Cecil Rhodes for the Rothschilds, the Dangors, yeah, the Sassoons, yeah, Holy See families, War Cabinet. Quigley refers to the movers and shakers behind this organisation as the Milner Group because of the key role of journalist turned civil servant Algernon Milner pictured, which seems to have begun at a dinner with Lloyd Rothschild in 1891. There is the shithead. Quigley relates that Milner later found lucrative employment as confidential advisor to certain international financiers in London. Financial district, of course, operated for Rothschild. He became a member of the board of the London Joint Stock Bank, later the Midland Bank. Well, anybody knows about Midland Bank, that's always been like an intermediary for arms and all sorts of trafficking, etc. A director of the Mortgage Company of Egypt and of the Bank of British West Africa, and chairman of the Rothschilds Rio Tinto Co., which is tied in with Cecil Rhodes. While Chatham House pretends to be independent, Quigley stresses that this is not an old saw and warns of the sinister implications of its true function. The Milner Group controls the Institute. Once that is established, the picture changes. The influence of the Chatham House appears in its true perspective, not as the influence of an autonomous body, but as merely one of the many instruments in the arsenal of another power. When the influence which the Institute wields combined with that controlled by the Mineral Group in other fields, in education, in administration, in newspapers and periodicals, a really terrifying picture begins to emerge. Bilderberg Group, United Nations, Club of Rome, all institutions satelliting what we call the Round Table, which is the core of what the Milner Group represents. So even the Chatham House, as powerful as it is, which incorporates Tavistock, the mind control operation, Stanford in the United States, MK Ultra, all this stuff is coming through. NASA, all these operations, but you might say satellites coming out of the Round Table Group, Cliveden set, all these secret societies that you've read about, all forming parts of the core of the Round Table. So Bilderberg Group, Club of Rome, which is running the climate gig, UN, so that's World Health Organization, yeah, all operating around this Royal Institute of National Affairs, CFR, Trilateral Commission, responsible for the mass immigration across the West. Trilateral Commission, John Kerry, that, you know. This is what you're looking at, and this is the... Chatham House is one of the major players on behalf of the Round Table. It could even be the Round Table, in truth. Could Chatham House. The Milner Group was made up the War Cabinet that handed the administration of the New World Order to its Jewish mafia. Yeah, New World Order pledged to Jews. Arthur Greenwood of British War Cabinet sends a message of assurance. Here, righting of wrongs seen. English rabbi delivers to Dr. S.S. Wise new statement in question after war. Yeah, and that was October 1940. Yeah, to administer it. This is where we all see it as the Jews. But they do believe that they're doing it because they're the most programmed people on the planet. And there we get in a little bit more detail of it. Yeah, this is not a game, it's real. English rabbi delivers to Dr. S.S. Wise new statement on question after war. Yeah, and this is 1940. They didn't even know what were going on with Jews in 1940? No, because it never happened in the way it's been projected. It's garbage, because the agenda was already set. They needed to get rid of the real Jews in Europe and force the Ashkenazi into Palestine for the pivotal point of trade between Africa, Europe and Asia. Remember, I put that up as a speech from the World Jewish Congress in the 1960s. And I put that up on the Daily Telegraph's website, which began to collapse and disintegrate in front of the world. You know what I'm saying? That's how serious it was. And in that statement, he said that they didn't pick Israel for any religious reasons, because it's the pivotal point of trade between Africa, Asia and Europe. That's what this is all about, people. And look at what it's kicking off now. Because it needs the entire area. It's already demarcated itself as the Greater Israel. It wants a new canal. You know, you look at this Kazakhstan and all these places we've just looked at, the mineral wealth, the oil. Why do they need this? They don't need the Saudis anymore. Down the line. The Saudis, of course, are tied to the petrodollar, which is the part of the dollar that's actually in trouble. The real dollar, the silver dollar, as it was, it's not besmirched at all. This is all about the petrodollar. And there's a distinction between the dollar and the petrodollar. And I used to know this stuff. I used to know that stuff, but I can't pull it to mind, to be honest. But the dollar used to be backed on silver. As did the sterra, or the pound sterling. When it had a double bar on the pound sign. Yeah, now it's got a single bar across the pound sign, has it not? This is what's been going on, people. You know, we are Israelites, we are not Jews, we have never been Jews, and the Jews and the Israelites despised each other, fought 4 major wars, because the Israelites said, no, we're not interested in your God, because we can't talk to it unless we come through you. No, thank you very much. You know, the Olympians, the Greek gods, the pantheon of Odin, all comes from the original Israelite tradition. And religion monotheism calls it paganism. Well, utter shit. Why do you think they kill the wise women? The one thing the 3 religions are there to stop you doing is connecting with the earth. If you ground yourself with the earth, you have created a connection from the heavens to the earth in your avatar, in your being. This is why they killed the wise women. They call them witches. This is why they killed the Native Americans. This is why they killed Gaelic language. Because it's the language that we use that creates the frequencies that we're responding to and operating through our speech. Gaelic, Native American, the Aborigine, all these tribal peoples that connected with the earth, that language created a certain frequency when they communicated with the children. You pass the frequencies through. English and all these bastardized languages are a different frequency. Like they've changed the core of music from the solfeggio away from that. That's what they've been doing, these Holy See families. Yeah, and because they've put the Jews there as a front, the Muslims there of the soldiers, and they've got the Israelites believing that they're subject to the Judahites, we're fucked. This is what we've been discussing in these 4 years of live streams. Slowly moving you to that understanding that we are the Israelites, the European races. We are the ancient Greeks. We are the Druids. We are the Scythians. We are the Gauls. We are the Merovingians. We are also the Native Americans, in the sense that the priest kings that left Atlantis before, way before it went under, and I mean under as in became dark, left Atlantis. One went to Chem, created Egypt as we know it. Not necessarily the pyramids, I think the pyramids were older. But the Egypt that we understand from its hieroglyphs, that belongs to the Atlanteans. The Native Americans will tell you in their cultures, big chunks of them came away from Atlantis up through South America. and took over North America by fighting the giants that existed there. Now, whether we take giants as in they were just a foot bigger, and that what's it called in America? I forgot what it's called. That I nearly said it then. No, I can't remember. They were riding something or presenting as though they were 55,000 foot and what have you, because most people like that kind of stuff. It's fantasy, isn't it? They like the idea that there were 50-foot giants out there. Blah blah blah. Everything we know is garbage. It's nonsense. To stop us, A, from grounding with the earth, and B, from recognising who we are. Yeah, and look at where we're at today. Our nations have been flooded with subcultures. You've got this priesthood here playing this game called, well, if you don't like us, we're going to leave you. They're going to leave anyway. That's the plan. They're now just satisfying their own garbage for their own bullshit by making it look like we're doing that because we're seeing them for what they are, so that they can happily go along and think, these people are insane. They are the lowest of the low. And because the pyramid is an inverse of reality, the lower caste people have been chosen by the elites to head this inversion. Does that make sense? Well, I mean, I hope that makes sense. It makes sense to me, perfect sense, but I know it's not always easy to communicate this kind of stuff. But that's what they did. 1940 arranged that after the war it was going to be handed to the administrators and the Jewish system for the Noahide. New York Times, published October the 6th, 1940. And so this just goes through in great detail what Chatham House is about, and also now starts to show you who they are today. Its presidents, the first of whom is Baroness Manningham Buller. Ain't that a face you'd want to smack? These are the people that are wrecking your country. These are the people that are ruining all nations. These are the people that are moving everything to Kazakhstan. These are the people that have set up the United Nations. These are the people that have set in Russia and against Ukraine, that are running the Middle East on behalf of the Holy See families. Yep. I mean, it goes right through them all. All the bug script. They control everything, these people. Mark Carney, we looked at him again before. Huge player for these families. Huge player. We've looked at some of his operations. Helen Clark. Yeah, servant of the Empire, having been Prime Minister and Commonwealth Colony in New Zealand from 1999 to 2008. Look at the state. Look, they don't even... It's there for you to see what kind of people they are. You just have to look at them. And look at that one. The grey man. What did he do? First thing he did when he left office, he went and became head of the Carlyle Group. Carlyle Group cited as taking part in the 9/11 event. I mean, Carlyle Group is the biggest weapons seller going outside of BAE Systems and perhaps Raytheon and Lockheed Martin. There he is. Everybody thought he was just a thick ass. No. These people are bloodline. And he continued Thatcher's neoliberal agenda, which was selling off our entire infrastructure, or incorporating it, as did Hitler, as did Mussolini. And that system, once it's implemented, is called fascism. So fascism is not what people think it is. Fascism is when your domestic system merges with the corporate realm, the private realm, because it's no longer operating under domestic or national law. It's operating to corporate law. BlackRock's involved here. So Chatham House, BlackRock, Global Infrastructure Partners. It added $1 trillion market to the infrastructure forecast, one of the fastest growing segments of private markets in the years ahead. I mean, so BlackRock's acquired Global Infrastructure Partners. So they've just been milking it. You know, the communists pulled everything into the state, gave the state all the power, took everything off you, nationalised enterprise, took it all away. Income stature, and then hands it all that power back into private hands, but elite private hands, not yours. Then they create health and safety to stop you starting up your own enterprise, doing everything they can to make it difficult for you to create your own enterprise. That's what health and safety is all about. It's garbage. It's garbage. All of it. But it's work to treat. Carlyle, so not mentioned Major's Chatham House profile that he was appointed European chairman of the Carlyle Group, the US-based multinational private equity asset management and financial service corporation founded by William E. Conway Jr., Stephen L. Norris, David Rubenstein, Daniel A. Anilo, and Greg Rosenbaum. You know, in one of its great coincidences, Carlyle's investor conference later that year took place in Washington on September 11th, with Major in attendance. It's been cited as playing a role in it. I can't remember exactly which one. And an article in The Economist commented that you did not need to be a conspiracy theorist to be concerned about what lay behind Carlyle's success. It added, can a firm that is so deeply embedded in the Iron Triangle where industry, government and the military converge be good for democracy? Yeah, industry all moving over to the east. Carlyle arguably takes to a new level the military-industrial complex that President Eisenhower feared might endanger our liberties or democratic processes. Major is also on the International Advisory Board of Israel Perez Centre for Peace and Innovation, whose international governors have included the likes of liquor trade philanthropist Charles Bronfman, Baroness Ariane de Rothschild, and the late Sir Evelyn de Rothschild. More Pierre Bersani, Keith Black, Eddie Bloomfield, Charles Bronfman, Margles Bulcaroni, Lester Crown, Baroness Ariane de Rothschild, Sir Evelyn de Rothschild, yeah. All part of this. He said, I'm now going to take a look at the Identity Activities Association of all 13 trustees of the Royal Institute of International Affairs. So there's 13 trustees. Fitting. And, what's this? Well, it's the first 13 trustees. So there they are. Nigel Shanweld, Irene Dorner, Alan Howman, Robert Mackay, Herbert Peters, Swanica, Joanna Helen Kund, Dr. Roddy Hu Williams, David Nussbaum, Sam Alvis, Julia Scott Dryden, Anita Lowenstein Dent, Andrew Payne, and John Berryman. And then he goes through in detail with images of all these people. Very proud of its support of the Zelensky regime. I bet they are with all the money they're laundering. Bank of England ended up rescuing the Bank of Activities Slater Walker with the help of Sir James Goldsmith, Ambrose and Rothschild and Co-team, former Rothschild employee Bernie Myers recalls. Chatham House Chair is a former director of Raytheon Systems, US-based arms firm that 10 years ago won the Israeli contract to supply 149.3 million worth of Tamar missiles. And Shineweld is also a former director of Shell. Rothschild's connections to Victor Rothschild, who was pioneer of biotech sphere, also worked for both Shell and MI5. Victor Rothschild was responsible for imprisoning a lot of people before the minute Churchill announced the Second World War. Psychics, anybody, journalists that knew too much, under Regulation 18B. Irene Dorner, there she is, looking very hip and strange. It's his son's grandma, that. HSBC, British Bank's imperialist designs on China, implicated in controversies, money laundering, criminal organisations such as Sinaloa cartel, large scale tax avoidance schemes. HSBC office in Israel, Tel Aviv, Rothschild, blah, 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 blah. Subject to state of on 40 May 1940, David Ben-Gurion, the executive head of the world's Zionist organisation. So, HSBC office in Israel, it's called Tel Aviv, Rothschild Boulevard, one of the most expensive streets in the city, and the road in which the declaration, okay. The owner of Chatham House, proud owner of the American Banker's Lifetime Achievement Award, sent to the US Senate 2014 to apologise for mistakes that led to $1.2 billion fine for money laundering. So she's a good girl for them boys. Taylor Wimpey, she's on the board of another big shit organisation, making sure that you can't buy houses. You can buy a mortgage, but you can't buy a house. So they were dealing with showing up the ground rents, etc. They're playing with the buyers of new homes. Discovered that they were tied into contracts that saw ground rents become usually more expensive, with the freehold sometimes having been sold on to a third party. So these Taylor Wimpey, all these big houses companies were basically stealing the freeholds. You buy a property now on a mortgage in these new estates, and pretty much you might as well be renting for what you can and can't do. And that's tied into the leasehold, not mortgage. So once you've paid the mortgage off, you're still tied on that leasehold. What's that say? Phone said blah blah blah, Wikipedia. Insurance broker of the firm aimed to minimise their exposure to kidnap and ransom payouts. Control risk, global risk and strategic consultant firm. Having previously succeeded in setting itself as a new power in the security world with a maximum discretion, Control Risk came to public stage in 1977, when two of its operatives were arrested and thrown into prison by a judge in Bogota in Colombia. I mean, this is Bechtel and Halliburton, Control Risk, yeah, man. This is Madeleine McCann. Invasion was repeatedly held by the parents of Madeleine McCann. So Control Risk, British child who famously went missing now. Famous child that probably died, and Daddy hid the fact by getting rid of the body. Apparently, so those close to him have pretty much said. This Chatham House is just into everything. She's further listed as General Manager of Premier Wealth Management Limited, United Kingdom, Chairman of Virgin Money Holdings PLC, in-house. Well, Nationwide have just done something with Virgin Money, actually, so that's interesting. That's very interesting, actually. Another Chatham House trustee with a banking background is Alan Hooman. Oh, there you go. Another little puppet. Federal Reserve. London branch of Citi, the US banking group, which was the first contributor to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York in 1913. So London branch of Citi. Scandals involving Citi Group are too numerous to list. Mexican money laundering. That's what we got. Bond selling scandal. Transactions swamped the market. Yeah, Citi Group was heavily involved in the terror securities scandal. California Attorney General that systematically stole funds from the accounts of credit card customers. There's Citi Simplicity. These new cards that they're offering up with everybody. An improper computerized sweep feature to move positive balances from card accounts into bank's general fund without telling cardholders. The company knowingly stole from its customers, mostly poor people, and the recently deceased. Hooman of Citi and Chatham House typifies the public-private connection, having held roles in HM Treasury and being an advisor to the UK Financial Services Authority, which the SEC have advised me, Securities and Exchange Commission, that it's actually the Financial Services Authority that I need to communicate with in relation to the questions I actually asked the SEC. His Associate Ambassador Partnership LP boasts it's involved in corporate diplomacy. Awarded the Freedom of the City of London in 2022 for services to plutocracy. Chatham House trustee Rob McCare is chief advisor for UK and international affairs at Rio Tinto, a Rothschild entity. McCare worked for British Black and unrest after the revolution. In Washington DC through 9/11 in Delhi and then in Nairobi as High Commissioner after 2008 post-election violence. Who's this? Rob McCare. That's the jock, I'm presuming. 2011 began a 5-year spell, government public affairs, political risks for British multinational oil and business, BG Group, seeing through its 70 billion acquisition by the Rothschild Shell Empire. McCare then let back over to the public wing of the imperial operation, being appointed UK ambassador to Iran. Surprise, surprise. 2020 was arrested by the Iranian authorities on suspicion of stirring up protests against the country's government and left the post in 2021. Chatham House site tells his professional interests have centred around international development, counter-terrorism and extremism, conflict resolution. This guy's probably a terrorist. His current role is particularly interested in the energy transition in the intersection of public and private sector strategies. Herbert Swaneker, senior lawyer at the international law firm Clifford Chance. He advises global organisations on technology-related issues and policy matters, particularly concerning emerging technologies, cybersecurity, privacy and commercial law. Clifford Chance has an interest in history very much linked to the origins of Chatham House, as explained by Quigley. It was created by the merger in 1987 of two London-based law firms, Coward Chance and Clifford Turner. Coward Chance derived from a firm established in 1802 by Anthony Brown. Brown's firm became embroiled in the panic of 1825 caused by speculation in South American investments, including the non-existent country of Paes. No, fucking hell. One of the firm's longest clients was Cecil Rhodes. The firm advised him on his diamond mining business in South Africa, administered his estate after his death, and helped set up the Rhodes Scholarships. So they're definitely round table crew. Clifford Chance. As historians Jim McGregor and Jerry Doherty explained, Rhodes was intrinsically linked to the powerful house of Rothschild. Rhodes was very close to the then Lord Rothschild. In 3 of his wills, he left the bank as his trustee, in 1 as his sole trustee, and the 2 of them were founding members of what Quigley calls the Milner Group, which founded Chatham House, although Rothschild preferred to remain in the background. The Rhodes Trust with the transatlantic Rhodes Scholarships was later to play a key role in extending the group's influence in the USA. Of course, Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar. Chatham House trustee Swaneker is a member of both the EU-AI Alliance, a European Commission initiative that declares it is shaping Europe's digital future, and of Tech UK, keen to accelerate change through smart infrastructure and systems. I told you EU is a city endeavour. And there's shaping Europe's digital future. London's telling everybody what to do. Chatham House trustee Joanna Cound is a BlackRock woman. She is co-head of BlackRock's Global Public Policy Group, a member of BlackRock's European Executive Committee as Global Operating Committee, and of the BlackRock Group Limited Enterprise Risk Management Committee. There it is. As I have previously reported, recent research that the ultimate ownership of the international finance and business power has identified BlackRock, along with State Street and Vanguard, as being but then they're interlocked. You look at the directors, shareholders of each, and they all come back. I think it's the BlackRock. It could be Vanguard, but yeah, it's a trinity. Father, Son, Holy Ghost, kind of shit. And has been at the heart of an interlocking network of global holding companies. Behind the interlocking network is believed to be the Rothschild Empire, which of course is the Holy See Empire. The Rothschilds, of course, don't want people to know this, blah blah blah. Rothschild Australia Asset Management has appointed US-based fund manager BlackRock Inc. RAM will outsource the management of its global fixed interest portfolios. Yeah, in Australia, I mean, BlackRock are tied to the tax collection system in Australia. It's very interesting when you look at that. It doesn't actually make sense, but then does anything in this system. But Australia is completely being controlled by BlackRock. 2023, long-standing Rothschild, JP Morgan, Chase were involved together in helping the Ukrainian government set up a reconstruction bank to steer public seed capital into rebuilding projects that can attract hundreds of billions of dollars in private investment. You see, that's what it's about. You know, Putin's working for these twats. War is the game. You know, they need money to fund it, they'll launder it. You need money to rebuild it, they'll give it you. Seed capital into rebuilding projects that can attract hundreds of billions of dollars in private investment. John Major. So, that same year, Rothschild & Co. press release that they were working on a €16 billion project with global infrastructure partners, which, as we have seen, is advised by Chatham House President John Major, just months before BlackRock announced it was acquiring the business. Citibank Retail Bank in Germany, very much part of the same family of businesses. Chatham House trustee Rodri Williams is a typical public-private Anglo-American establishment figure. But these guys are just shielding the Holy See, as we know. Oxford University product enjoyed 3-year committee diplomat, blah blah blah. AIG, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, dozens of European banks. Williams' profile on the WEF site says he's work involves developing strategic partnerships with a wide range of external stakeholders, including governments, international organisations, trade and industry groups, and think tanks. So even governments are now classed as stakeholders. Wow, you know, this is... Chatham House biography of his trustee David Nussbaum likewise nicely sums up the nature of the whole endeavour. Following an executive career in international organisations in the private and NGO sectors, David now has a portfolio of non-executive director and trustee board roles. Nussbaum is a member of the Ethical Investment Advisory Group of the Church of England. Or is that Rodri Williams? Hang on. Oh, there it is. There's Nussbaum. Church of England. That's a strange looking nose. Just saying. The term ethical is hard to reconcile with the church's activities, given that it was heavily involved in the Smart City UNSDG impact capitalism promoted by WEF-linked Ronald Cohen, as he reported last year, says this geezer. Nussbaum chairs International Alert, an organisation interested in the impact of peace building and in better development and peace outcomes. Look at that face. Says it all, doesn't it? Says it all. He's also chair of Anthesis, an international consultancy which aims to guide clients towards sustainable performance through an end-to-end journey that impact-led, solution-oriented. Drax Group, Drax Power, Selby in England, where vast forests are being burned under greenwashing biomass label. Is he now? This little shitbag. In Selby in England, Drax Power, so they're burning all the forests. Drax Power Station, North Yorkshire, burns 25 million trees a year that are shipped in from across the world. They add that Drax is the world's biggest burner of trees and can only operate because of over 6 billion in subsidies taken straight off our energy bills. 6 billion! This guy's a shit working with Church of England. See, this is the enemy, people. These are the problem. Yeah? So when we start to wake up, 6 billion taking the subsidies from our energy bills. The fake green question can also be asked of Nussbaum's previous roles as CEO of WWF UK and chair of WWF Global Climate and Energy Initiative. Already explained that WWF set up Frits Bern of the Netherlands, a veteran of the Nazi SS, who sat on the steering committee of the Bilderberg Group along with the WEF boss Klaus Schwab. WEF is notorious for throwing indigenous people off the land. New Deal for nature, they call it. The New Deal. Hitler came in on a New Deal. Roosevelt came in on a New Deal. Tony Blair came in on a New Deal. Yeah, New Deal means more shit. President of WWF UK is Charles III, Chatham House patron who officially launched the Great Reset in 2020 and is, of course, head of the ever so ethical Church of England. Yeah, but he isn't. Is he? Church of Scotland is what he said in his oath. So you might want to double check that, my good man. The pseudo-green theme continues with the next Chatham House trustee on the list, the 9th of 13. Sam Alvis, head of the Economy of Green Alliance. He doesn't look old enough to have learned how to wipe his ass. It declares since 1979 we have been working with the most influential leaders in business, NGOs and politics to accelerate political action and create transformative policy for a green and prosperous UK. He's the green horse, he's Charlie Boy, I'm telling you. So he doesn't look like he's old enough to have wiped his arse yet. Never mind, Alvis previously worked on EU affairs for the Wellcome Trust. With which Chatham House Deep State President Manningham Bula is so closely connected. Wellcome Trust, evil. I did have actually do an own profile on that. I might have to put it up on the site. Impeccable credentials. He worked as senior advisor to Tony Blair Institute. Well, there you go. There you go. He's advising the current Labour Party leadership and has praised Keir Starmer's environmental policies. That little kid, a little slapped-ass kid, is running around praising evil people. Look at the state of that. I wonder what family he's from. Alvis. And number 10 is Juliet Dryden. Long-term appreciator of Chatham House. Began her career in the 1990s before going off to work in the UN. Include donor relations. Donor relations. Ooh. Currently director of the British International Studies. Although be at NATO event, NATO relations. God. It's got something to do with NATO. Partnership UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office. Works closely alongside the British Council. Officially a wing of the British State, the latter organisation achieved list of clients includes AstraZeneca, BAE Systems, Alpha Beta, Barclays Group, Bloomberg, BP, British Airways, BT Group, Cable and Wireless, Cadbury Schweppes, Deutsche Bank, Ernst & Young, GlaxoSmithKline, HSBC, Holdings, IBM, ICI, Lloyds. Well, IBM apparently is running the Dutch Lancashire. Lloyds, London Stock Exchange, Marconi, Marks & Spencer, Powergen, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Prudential, Renault, Routers, Holdings plc, Rio Tinto, Rolls-Royce, Relson Alliance Insurance Group, Shell Group of Companies, Thames Water, Telegraph plc, Virgin Group, Visa International, Vodafone, Volkswagen, and Rothschild and Sons. The fact that this British Council client list ever existed, plus the fact that it has now been removed from the public view, reveals much about the hidden public-private power. Who's this flosser? Anita Lowenstein-Dent. So she's hiding her Stein with Dent. Well, I'm sorry, darling, but I'm just looking at you. It's written all over your face. CEO of T2T, Teaks to Teaks. Oh, so she's fucking your kids. She's wrecking your kids and employing teachers everywhere that are having sex with the children because they're still children themselves. Focus on Africa. Oh. United Nations Sustainable Development. Lowenstein Dent, blah blah blah. Describes young African people as human capital and talks about resilience and a lot about impact. Yeah. Oh, we go. That's why they're shoving the subcultures here. Somewhat inevitably, Lowenstein Dent describes young African people as human capital. Yeah. Her supporters include Ghana Association of Bankers and St James's Palace Charitable Foundation, which describes itself as one of the largest corporate foundations in the UK and which was set up by St James's Palace plc, formerly J. Rothschild Assurance. An article on the Jewish News website reveals that Lowenstein Dent also devotes much of her time to a number of Jewish charities, including PJ Library UK and New Israel Fund UK. So she's changing the books, editing the books, and pulling in this no-hide system for her priesthood friends. Now look at this little face. What do you make of that? He looks like he's a mix, doesn't he, him? Like, straight out of Kazakhstan or something. Penultimate trustee Chatham House is Andrew Payne. That is not an Israelite face. I don't have any. Lecture on Foreign Policy and Security. City University of London Research. Oxford. US Foreign Policy, Military Influences US. Civil Military Relations. Oh. Payne is concerned about the way in which elections powerfully constrain presidential decisions about war and peace, as he wrote in Washington Post. In an article for the US Army War College Quarterly, he mentions that most voters do not support an increase in defence spending and would prefer a decrease in the number of troop stations across the world. Well, don't mind that. But he says the good news for warmongers is that fears about international terrorism can create majorities in favour of the use of military tools to address this threat. Public opposition to work will be reduced, says Payne, by turning to a remote control approach. Oh, so you're probably very involved with Obama. More importantly, policymakers may feel more tempted to use force if the available tools are cheaper and less politically controversial. Payne is also a non-resident fellow at the Institute for Global Affairs, a New York organisation which describes its role in rather familiar language as nurturing the next generation of leaders. Common purpose, future leaders, ARC, all these US Army War College. Final trustees, John Berriman, former UK board member and Chief Operating Officer, PricewaterhouseCoopers. There you go. Globalisation agenda, active in 20 countries, including Southeast Asia, continental Europe. So we didn't get caught. Corruption controversies, scandals. Roger Williams worked for blah, 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 blah. And there basically is just a bit of an insight into Chatham House, which is WEF, which is the Round Table, which is basically Club of Rome, United Nations, World Health Organization, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, and the CFR. And the Milner Group, which is what created Israel. There you can see the might of these front men doing as they're told for the Holy See families. And there we go, chaps and chapesses. That pretty much completes what I'd set out to present tonight, and there we go. I've come to conclude, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, hit the like button. Says Ace, good for you, go on, go for it, says Jerry. Oyster water and all that. You think she's dead, do you, Treen? Katie. Sean, I just wanted to say thanks for the wisdom you share. It's made positive to the way I see things. Well, that's good. Thank you for that, my friend. They're all psychopaths. Salty Storm, thanks for your works. I agree, you've been the most authentic and I have helped me wake up so much. Thanks, Treen. No bells and whistles either, Sean. Well, exactly. There is none. No bells and whistles, and I'll say fuck off a lot. Because I don't give a fuck. Profiler X says, Golitsyn was right about the false Sino-Soviet split 1890. Come true, that's true. Evil plotters. Discernment is the vital skill, yep. The New Silk Road, yep. Brendan O'Connell has talked a lot about this. He's, of course, hard to find now. I think he's on Rumble or something like that. I haven't seen him for a bit. Well, he did start going on about assassinating a certain person, and that's not going to go down right well, is it? So he was a bit naughty there. A few others talk of it. Yeah, okay, thanks. Blah, blah, blah. Other part of the dialectic. Kazakhstan. Well, yeah, there we go. Profile Aisha Kazaria. No, Kazaria is Ukraine. Don't mix them up. Don't mix them up. The Turkics. This is your Mongol freaks. This is your... Where I suggest the black nobility really of as Persians of they're the ones that created the Mongol horde. I'm neck deep in law at the moment, bro. Good for you, matey. Good for you. Slight of on the manufacturer shortage of shit. Blah, blah, blah. Rudolf Steiner stated that the next centre would be Russia, Slavic countries. Did he? Big E, if you're putting a document together, Sean, to get away from these fruit bats forever, I have a few choice phrases you might like to know. I'll give you a call later week. Kind regards. No worries, Big E. Ulick says DTRA. The new Kazakhstan built is an unreal place. All boomers, all dirty hands. Yeah, they're the fucked, aren't they, the boomers? They don't have any mind of their own. They've all got somebody telling them what to do. They're in some lodge, or some society, or the pissheads, or the telly tells them what to do. News tells them what to do. Paper tells them what to do. They really have absolutely no... There's nothing to them. Nothing, and it's sad. It is sad, because there's no changing them, because they know it all. They're the smartest people on the planet in their world, because they went to the moon. They won the Second World War, even though they were only fucking kids. They believe they won the Second World War. They really do, you know. We did this, we did that, you did fuck all, boys, apart from do exactly what you were told. Thieve off each other, get pissed, beat your wife and your kids to fuck. That's all you did. That's all you ever did, chaps. Don't forget, we were your offspring, so we know exactly what you did. Officially the gang, blah, 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 blah. Bit like the 1100 men placed in the church every go in the school teacher. Yeah, exactly. There's your 1100 paedophiles, your puffs and rapists. Thanks as always, Sean. Plethora of factual info, says Anthony. Christoph, Sean, come all over again. His site looked at that. Abraxas did that painting. Okay. Well, chaps, thanks for joining on this good sunny evening. I weren't expecting anyone to be joining, if I'm honest, but you did. So thanks for that. And I think we'll end on a reminder of who it is we're actually up against. Thanks for joining, thanks for taking part, thanks for your mods, doing your efforts and being there. Till the next time.
What do you see as the biggest challenges in conservation?
The growing human population. Because where we are, there's nothing else.
And do you have views about what should be done about that?
Can't you guess?
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. You ready? You ready? You got me running, you got me running, got me running, got me running.
I've come to this House of the People to speak to you and all Americans.
Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running.
Where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind, peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law.
Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. You ready? You ready? You got me running, you got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil.
You ready? You ready? Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. You ready? You ready? You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running.
Every nation in every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission. My own decisions, I don't want no opinions. Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission. My own decisions, I don't want no opinions. Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission.